With the cost of electricity on the rise and the polar ice melting, alternative energy has become the buzzword. Mark Tiepelt of Biogas SA has been using biogas in his home for 5 years to supplement power supply from Eskom. Tiepelt produces his own biogas by using a small anaerobic digester. Waste matter is fed into the tank, which allows organic matter such as manure and kitchen scraps to decompose without oxygen and produce a gas. The gas is 60% combustible methane, some carbon dioxide and traces of hydrogen sulfide. The gas is then tapped and fed into a gas engine generator to produce electricity and heat, which can be recovered and used. With the anaerobic digester, Tiepelt is able to produce 700 watts of energy per day, which is enough for cooking and heating water, while powering the lights.
Your material goes in here, digests at the bottom, gas gets produced, and then it gets tapped off. This little green pipe that you see over here is the gas that we pipe off from the top of the dome, and it goes into the kitchen. This is a little gas generator. This runs. It can be a bit finicky sometimes. Jesus. Here we can get it started. And it runs directly on the gas that comes out of my digester. But there's gas geysers, couple of the water in there. I can do it as well, and then we get hot water directly from the gas as well. There's gas lights. This is a space heater. We bought these in for the pig farmers to heat up their pigsties from all the manure. I don't know.
No, that's fine.
Cool. So that's gas lights, and then if you come inside the kitchen, you can see instead of just a small little hole like normal LPG gas appliances, it's got a whole slot. It's a whole groove opening just to let more gas out. So, but that's what we've been cooking on. Maybe you can take a photo. It's better than you see the blue flame. You know, you can have automatic switches and all the rest of it. Like normal, if you've got LPG gas in your house, same principle. And we just open and close as it is. Remember, I installed this 5 years ago, and it was the first one in South Africa.
On a larger scale, Johannesburg's Northern Wastewater Treatment Works is currently using anaerobic digesters to provide its operation with 1.5 megawatts of energy per day, which is 50% of its energy requirements. The aim is to reach 60%.
The picture in front of you, as Carl mentioned, is an aerial photo of the site. And the big round structures behind are the digesters. The digesters are what house bacteria which feed on the organic substrate which produce the gas. From the engines, as I mentioned, we step it up to the transformer, the green object in front of the container. That's where we step up our voltage. That then comes under the road to the switchgear to your right. The switchgear is essentially a big circuit breaker. Out through the metering panel where we register exactly how much power we produce and how much power we consume, and then it goes out into the works. The effect here for the works in terms of generating its own power on site is exactly the same as you installing a solar water geyser at home. All you're doing is using less electricity from City Power or whichever metro council you receive your electricity from. And it's exactly the same principle here. Eskom, the supplier to this plant, is a big generator. We synchronize to their generator. We then feed power into the works.
Mike Tiepelt says this technology would make a lot of sense for people who live in the rural areas.
Rural communities, we know there's areas there that Eskom won't reach for the next, X number of years. But each one of those communities has got organic waste available. You can use that biogas for a cooking stove. You can have a 2-plate cooking stove, you can have a couple of lights. At least there is cooking and lights for the people to use, and they're not dependent on wood or fossil fuels, and it will certainly improve their life quality tremendously.
With rising electricity prices and power outages, converting what would normally go to landfills into gas seems like the smart thing to do. I'm Zukiswa Zimela.